Talk to it.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us at the Cleaning Business Life podcast. I am your co host, Jamie Runco. I'm here with Shannon Miller. And
Hey!
today we are going to talk about resetting your clients before they kill your profit and your peace.
Yes.
Talk about this.
Let's get the tea and all of this. Typically, you're busy, you're booked, you're quietly resenting certain clients, and this episode is going to be for you.
Yeah. We're talking to you guys. Client reset isn't always about firing people. It's about stopping the slow bleed that's
Right.
killing your profit and your peace, your mental health, you guys. You can take on almost any job, but you don't have to take on every client. I
Right.
love that, right? I love that because that's they can very much can take away your peace of mind. It can slowly creep into your personal life. I know it has mine. And this is all due for business, and you need to learn how to get the respect that you guys, everybody deserves. And it is just like training a technician, a cleaning tech, you do have to clean or train your clients. They don't know. Whenever somebody does come from a actual business and know that they're like not getting a good job done, those are such great clients. They know what the process is. They just want what they pay for. Those are great. You don't have to train them. They've been doing it for 5 years. They know that they're going to get an on my way text from Jobber. They know that they have to have a credit card on file. They know that they have to have a deposit. They know that we offer every 6 months a reset of their home,
For an
right?
additional fee.
Yeah,
There's
of
a lot of
course.
things that Jamie just announced that she does that has created boundaries in her business so that the expectation is there. She knows what the expectation is, the client knows what the expectation is, so there's no gray area. When we have conflict, I have found, is the client is over expecting on something that is not reasonable. We're just here to remove surface dirt. If you need a more in-depth cleaning, like when you'll see a lot of clients are like, I want a deep cleaning every single time. I'm like, we don't have a problem doing that, but you're going to have to pay for a deep cleaning every single time. We don't wipe baseboards throughout the house every single time. The only time that it's expected is in the bathrooms, right? Because there's toilet paper dust and hair and skin and everything else. So these are all things that she just named that are essential for her to run smooth running shifts, because that's what you want to provide to your cleaning techs are smooth running shifts. You want them to hang around, right?
Exactly. Yes. And it does take some finesse sometimes whenever somebody that I'll take an example, an elderly person that has done it all themselves their whole life. You just know the generation, like they had 9 kids and they did it all. And now
That's their little
they're
hearts,
coming in there with this technology.
right?
You're coming in there with technology, and there's some training to go through. I have people, I like to deal with the children of the clients. They're more tech savvy and understand and people I'm going to tell you, most people want that structure. They want that structure of, this is what we do. I want to be able to see it. I want to be able to see it. We leave a digital checklist with them every time. Digital means that I'm on Jobber, and once the job is done, we send it over and my cleaning technicians check off exactly what they did. And that is like their receipt, their invoice, kind of. And to show that I charged this amount of money for what we did, that was all listed on this receipt, basically. And it takes a couple of times before they're like, okay, this is how we're doing this. It takes a couple of times, and once you get that, boy, it's so nice. Once you have a client that is trained to know what to expect, what you're gonna charge, what you're doing in their house, and those are boundaries. You set those boundaries up front. It makes you look so professional.
It does, and it prevents clients from being misaligned with your business model. And for some clients, they might not want all of the structure. They might like the fly by the seat of your pants, or I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, and maybe next time I'll do that, and that's okay. We're all about providing the same consistency, like McDonald's. When you go to McDonald's, Any place in the world, with the exception of India, you get a burger made with beef. It's just the way it is. In India, they don't eat cows. So it's same thing with Starbucks. Starbucks, you know that you can get your special drink at any Starbucks, no matter where you are.
Yeah, with 20 different employees. They always know to make my it might be off just a little bit sometimes. Like you'll start realizing, okay, I but you deal with it. You draw back your expectation because it's like, I'm going to a new Starbucks. They don't know me as well there. But it's exactly how I asked for it, and they make it every single time pretty much the same.
Definitely. So you want to just make sure that you're not having misaligned clients. And how you do that is by having a lot of structure and policies in place.
Yeah, most of us don't even realize that the damage until we're already burnt out.
Right.
Trying to go back and fix things constantly, or that takes a toll on you guys
Emotionally.
mentally, and it starts, like I said, I brought it. This obviously it's something that's going on, but it brings it into your home life, and it's really hard to separate the two.
It
But
can.
this is not that you failed any. If you're feeling like this, you're not failing. You Whenever I was just telling Shannon this, I think this morning maybe before we even came on here about no, it was last night. I'm sorry. It was last night whenever I was like,
We
I
talk all the time.
yeah, we do the little clips constantly. I'm like, I know myself well enough now that I've been in this business long enough to know that whenever I am like this, I get a little panicky. Sometimes I can even call it out at a certain time of the month. It's always towards the end of the month. I feel like I am just all over the place and I have no idea, like almost like an imposter syndrome, right? Like I don't know what I'm doing. I have no business being here. I cannot, like, who am I to be on this podcast? I do not. And I have every right to be. That is such a false narrative, but it goes with the growth pains of that's whenever the uncomfortableness of it all is whenever you're growing because you've never been there before. You've never been at this part of stage of your business. So of course you're not going to know what to do. And this is whenever you really need to lean in on this podcast or Shannon or me because we have been there and I know exactly how you guys are feeling. Shannon knows exactly whenever I tell her these things, I know she's sitting back thinking she did her job, right? She knows she
A
did
lot
her
of
job.
times I'm like, "Oh, Jamie's just going."
She did her job. It's really nice to know that you have people that have been there in this industry that you can talk to like this.
But we people who've been in the industry, seasoned people, oftentimes, sometimes someone's really new and they're an expert, but find people that you resonate with. That's really important when you're looking for outside help. If we
Mm.
won't go into all the details of
No,
all the stuff,
exactly.
find someone that you click with. That's the of the utmost important. I ask that all the time, especially
Right.
when working with a new coach. I want to make sure that our personalities click. And we don't necessarily have to have the same belief system, but you want someone that you can get the information from as best you can. And
Right.
then the job is work and the client is relationships. And it really is. It's just the job is the work. You got to make sure that you're doing the job
Right. It is a business and you need to start thinking like a CEO.
right.
That is,
And you
and
can
you
bring
are
down the price and you can systemize the job, but the client brings expectations, behavior, and energy. And that's the container that needs to be managed because a lot of times the expectation and the behavior is like it's out of whack, right? It's sometimes it'll be the energy, like, they're supposed to pick up the toys or the laundry or do the dishes or whatever. But a lot of the times it's the behavior. Like someone, was it you, Jamie, that showed me the hair in the shower? And it just
this
was
was
like,
yesterday, you guys.
right. So, then that became a policy, right? That was immediately applied into all of the stuff. And then going forward, that person just now knows that if they don't pick up all the goop of their hair in the shower, they can't leave it for the cleaning tech to clean up. It's just, it's not. it's not respectful, right? And to them,
Right.
they probably didn't think it was a big deal, right?
Right, and you know what? And that it until you go through it, like, and we're not talking a little bit of hair, you guys, we're talking, like,
It looked like a
2 big,
crater.
huge, like, piles,
It coulda
and
moved, it coulda moved.
my floor cleaner, she was like I said, you know, and I, of course, went to Shannon, I was like, "Look at this disrespect." But guarantee it won't happen again. I
Right,
instantly, professionally went to the client and said, "We need to address this." And as soon as we did that, "Yeah, sure." But I'm like, "Okay, well, wait a minute here. I need to readjust a policy in my jobber whenever they sign." That is something that I instantly I need to look over it anyways, but those are your boundaries right there. That kinda
right.
gives your clients the you're steering the ship of this. What are you gonna tolerate and what are you not gonna tolerate?
Right. And we have some warning signs that you
Yeah.
need a client reset. You avoid certain client names. It's like Harry Potter, right? Those the person who shall not be named, right? Voldemort. If you get to the point of your client list and you don't want to mention their name because you're afraid it's going to stir up dust and it's going to have backlash, that might not be the client for you. Some homes trigger staff complaints. Mrs. Smith is, in her moo and she's dancing wild with the contractor because she's having a remodel done and nothing has been prepped, right? Scope creep becomes normal. Well, I don't want you to do this little teeny closet over here, this butler's pantry. I want you
This
to do
time.
this master bath that we haven't done the last 8 times. Can that be an even trade? No.
And this is how we spin that. That you're scheduled for a certain amount of times. My cleaning techs need to get to their next appointment.
Right.
That is something that has to be scheduled, and we need to increase the price for that, especially if we haven't done it in 8 months.
Right. And you should be paid. If someone in their home skips a master bath and then suddenly on the 6th visit, that's 6 months in, they decide they want the master bath done, you're charging them extra to do the master bath. And the only exception would be is if they maintained it, they kind of gave it a lick and a promise in between, then it really didn't need hard scrubbing. But more than likely, that monthly client 6 months in is going to need to have a hard scrub.
Yeah,
Now, the caveat to that is if you go to the house and you agree to do certain areas, the monthly price I just mentioned in another podcast is $225. If they decide that they don't want that master bath done, it's still $225.
and that's the
Remember that.
start rate. That's the start rate for a monthly cleaning and goes
And
up
if
from
they
there.
if they choose to skip for 6 months and we have to catch that bathroom up because they didn't give it a lick and a promise, we're gonna add on 30 or $40 because we have to go get a drill. We're gonna have to scrape the wall. We're gonna have to use extra chemical. It's gonna take extra time. And
It does.
then I'm with Jamie. Sometimes those girls are doing 2 or 3 homes. There's no time to give a hard scrub to a master bath. That needs to be, put in jobber and said, "Hey, can we hit the master bath this time?" And then, then it's 7 months, right? So just something to think about when you start to get clients like that.
Right. And you're over explaining your pricing. Alright, guys. Let me let me put this on do not disturb. Uh, boy, I can't tell you how many times, especially in the beginning nowadays, I've learned to, "Okay, thank you. Call us if you ever need us again."
Right.
That
We're
you do
happy to
not
put you back
need
on
to
the schedule.
explain every single expense. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't, "Well, I got this." You do real and I did too, you guys. You do realize that I do have W-2 employees, that I do carry insurance, that I do like, I'm running a legitimate business here, like, just the know-it-all. You don't do that. You don't have to.
It'll feel enticing every once in a while, but it's not really necessary.
Sometimes there's times when you just wanna stick it to them and just, "Nope, just thank you."
So, what a client reset is and isn't, it's not refusing work. It's not being picky.
Yeah,
It's not turning down money.
absolutely.
It's choosing who you build relationships with. It's deciding what behavior your business will tolerate. And there is a lot of unfortunate bad behavior sometimes. You're just like, this is just wild. Some of this, I mean, we can write a whole book on client experiences. It's protecting your staff, your systems, and your peace. Protecting your staff is of the utmost importance. They're your golden unicorns. We went to Texas Roadhouse I hardly ever go to corporate stores. For those of
Yeah.
you who don't know, I work for TGI Fridays for years. Like, I don't have any desire to do corporate anything. I try to support as local as I possibly can. Well, we were waiting in line because they have the little digital things, and the table, you could see there's the hostess stand. For those of you who are watching, listening, there's the hostess stand. You have to walk over by the meat counter and then go around to the tables. Well,
Yep.
there was a waitress, and it was a tight fit because they double stack the tables inside of Texas Roadhouse. Well, this gentleman had one too many drinks, and he decided that he was not going to be looking anymore, that he was going to be touching. And I watched this woman who was 5'2" get in this guy who was 6'5" right in his face about touching her employee. And I have never seen a bigger man cower in an instant. And the police came, and we had to all be interviewed, and it was all this stuff.
Yeah, the mama bear comes out of you. And, I remember saying this on another podcast, you guys. Your cleaning techs, and it's not about money all the time, but I'm going to tell you though, they could bring in one cleaner can bring in $70,000. And if
Right.
they're really good and aligned with your company, your core values, all that stuff, you tend to protect them like, no, 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 you're not going to treat my employees just any type of way. Um, and backbone, you're gonna have to get a backbone and make sure that their work man, how great is that they have chose our company to come and work for?
Right.
Like, that is just and, that is
Just
so
out to dry. When they bring
no,
something to your
ever.
attention, thank them for bringing it to your attention. Give them a $5 gift card because you wouldn't have known otherwise. Reward the behavior. Like, if you have a client who is verbally abusive to one of your ladies or gentlemen, step in and say, we have no cursing tolerance. For those of you who are looking for interesting, listen to the Angela Brown interview about cursing. She goes on this whole thing. We interviewed her for 90 minutes. Bless you, Angela. You're so fun.
We love her.
But making sure that you're protecting your staff, your systems, and your peace. When you do the first two, the staff and your systems, the peace comes automatically. It's by default. And you
Yep,
want smooth running. You don't want to have to be up at night trying to figure out why some guy touched a server. It's just like, right?
it does, it leaves you just, yeah.
And
Yeah,
then sometimes there's jobs that you won't take on because the person is just too difficult or has all of these extra requirements or has these terms and conditions or wants to only not give you, they don't want to give you a deposit, but they want you to come on Saturday at 2 p.m. when there's a snowstorm that's supposed to be there on Sunday. And you have to make sure, it's just all of these unrealistic expectations. So when you say that here's a job I would take, but from a different client, that is a client reset. You're looking for those jobs, but not every client is your client.
you
And
don't
then
want
there's clients that you wouldn't take again. I can name hundreds of clients that I would never take again. Just bad experiences I've had with real estate agents, title brokers, plumbers, construction workers, other people during transitions of moves, alcoholic people. We've dealt with people who've passed away. We've dealt with I've all of it. We've seen
yeah,
everything. So
yeah.
but if you end up losing on a job financially, that's probably the quickest lesson that you will learn, and I guarantee you will not let it happen again. And that's when that boundary comes in to make sure that you're going to get paid for the next time, because there's nothing worse than having to give away work for free, especially if you're out there doing the work yourself. It's like, oh my gosh, I just saved $500 on this job. This sucked.
You're just pissed the whole time, and there's nothing worse.
And then you have a point of reference, right? Here's what changed after we enforced client standards. When I enforced the client cancellation policy, I went from 60% cancellations at any given time down to 2%. And if
Right.
the 2% still cancel, they all know, I guess you're going to be billing me. I'm like, yes, I am.
And, and then you'll get some of those great clients that have been trained, right?
Mhm.
That's what we're talking about, that I am out of the area. Go ahead and charge my card the full price. I know. I'm my bad. Sorry. And those are the clients you want. They will respect you
Right. They understand how it works.
because you put that policy in place. You've said, you refer them back to what they signed and say, I wouldn't be so shitty to be like, is that your signature? you know, Right. I mean, technically you can, but I do it around in a finesse kind of way. And it's like they get it. Oh,
Right. And there's an emotional side to resetting your clients.
no.
Turning down a client can feel personal. And I remember the first time I had to fire a client, we had just come to an impasse. She was really picky. She did the white glove test, she did the paper towel test. And this is someone who had 8 dogs, right? 8 dogs, 2 adult children living at home. It was a huge house. I didn't know what I was doing back then.
Right.
And you
No.
just get to the point where, like, well, I don't know how to break up with this person. And it was weekly too, on top of it, which you never want to walk away from, but it is what it
Right.
is. And it did feel personal, and I tried to not make it personal, but then it became personal when she realized what was happening and we were breaking up, right? Then it became the ugliness because she actually, and the worst part is this person lived down the block from me. So I had to, every time there was only one way in the neighborhood unless you went the other way and all the way around. So yeah, we had to see each other and I had to like wave. I'm like, hey, hey. I'm surprised she didn't go like this.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck off. They do. They want to say that, or you even want to say that. But boy, does it feel good whenever you get that rid of that monkey on your back.
It's a
Uh, Making sure it may be a financial hit for a very short period of time, but I promise they come. Or they not that they the client that you fired, they don't come back because you're not gonna allow that anymore on your schedule, but clients will fill those spots. And
definitely.
then it does. Protecting your standards, it feels uncomfortable at first. I can't tell you
I
it
squirmed.
yeah, it takes some practice. It's like almost, boy, I'm better at it now because I've hired and I've fired employees and cleaning clients. But in the beginning, it does, and not just every time I feel uncomfortable like that is whenever I start noticing. Wait a minute, this is growth. Whenever I'm out of my comfort zone, again, you've never been at this position before, so of course it's gonna feel uncomfortable. You don't know, you've never passed this threshold before. Of course you're not gonna know it. It does, and so whenever you feel that smidgen of uncomfortability, just know that that's some growth. That's growth, believe it or not. And it's growth for you here, and then, you guys can rewind this and tell us in 6 months down the road that, "Oh, I finally got rid of that client. Thank you. Guess what? I filled it with the most amazing client that respects me, that knows what my new boundaries and my standards are. They signed off on it." It happens and it comes.
It just and there's a lot of differences in the trades and the service based side of the trades. For example, a builder isn't going to come to their house every 2 weeks for 26 visits in a year or 14 visits if it's monthly. So there's a different dynamic because of the intimacy. So we actually get to know some of these people, their personalities. Some of the homes I had, legitimately have watched their kids grow up. They're gone to college. One of them
Right?
has a wife, has children now, and it's just like this whole it's like you're growing with them, but you're growing with them at an arm's distance. So it's just the peace can show up faster than the regret, and you just want to have smooth running shifts. And it does feel uncomfortable initially for you to do that, but once you take that first step, and you might do it smoothly. The first time I did it, I bumbled through the whole thing. I wrote a letter. I was like, this is before ChatGPT. I had to figure it
Mhm.
out on my own. Who
That
knows? Maybe it was Savage Light. Who knows? But it's when relationships are no longer beneficial for you or the business, it's time for you to part ways. And holding on to something that isn't beneficial to your business is not good for anyone. It's not good for your cleaning tech. It's not good for you. It's not good for your business. So keep that in mind. And then you can separate the job from the client. Sometimes it can be the client is so difficult that you can just request that they're just not home. That's always a workaround. Sometimes if
good
you
one.
have a job that you take on and they complain every single time, that's not a good client. But sometimes you have someone who has a lot of control issues. How many of us as cleaning business owner have control issues with our cleaning tax, blah, 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 right? So it kind of goes both ways. So work around if their person is difficult to be around for whatever is going on in their life personally, you can say, I'm happy to continue on with this relationship as long as you are not here. I've done that many times.
I
So
have not. That's a good one. I'm actually gonna write that down. That's a good one. Um,
because sometimes it's good money. $425 every week, it adds up, right? $575 a week, it adds up. And so that can be the workaround if they're that difficult, but if they're picky and they complain every single time, "Well, I found a hair behind the shower curtain in the master bath that's on the bottom level that no one uses."
Right, right.
Yeah, that might not
Right,
be a good fit, right?
right, right.
And then so you have to define client standards and not just service standards.
Yeah, yeah. And you price for the job, but qualify. Make sure that your client is in a line with you and your business and how you run things.
Right.
There should be a qualifying checklist almost for you. And, if you want to scale, you do have to make, like, whenever you start getting office managers and stuff like that,
And who
once they're there,
knows
you,
if they'll
you
even
need,
have office managers in the future.
right, right. But you should make it so that it's like a copy and paste. It's can flow good enough. Those, they know what to look for. One of my cleaning techs, I can leave for days at a time, and I know that whenever I come back, that I will still have somebody on jobber that was scheduled. So, maybe even if it was fumbled around, it happened. My place, the business didn't blow down and burn up and go to pieces. Make it scalable so that other people know what the qualifying things are for a client, taking on the client. And that's adhering to your core values and your
Mhm.
beliefs and your mission statement and all that stuff.
So communicating clearly and professionally is of the utmost importance. And then the best part is letting clients self-select. Sometimes you'll get a difficult one, they sneak in and they just are like, "This just isn't working out for me." And you're like, "Yes," right?
Yeah.
Or you have the other on the other side of it, you have the person who's like, "I really appreciate." They're like, "Yay, the cleaners are here," right?
Oh,
"Here
yeah.
is your tip, here is your lunch. Let me burp and feed you while you're here."
You want me to turn music on? I'll make you some lunch. Yeah, exactly. And you probably could sit down and talk to them for hours because they're such awesome people. But again, they also know that because we've trained them that they need to get up and go, or otherwise we'll sit there and talk for hours. And that's if you're in the field. If your cleaning techs are out there and they still the clients will know. We have a certain amount of time scheduled for this job. We got to get going and we got another job afterwards. So,
Yeah, you don't wanna be in the therapy session either.
as much as I'd love to sit here and talk to you, I got to go.
So that's the best point of your client reset. You don't need to stop working hard. You need to stop working for the wrong people. If you want to help resetting clients without burning bridges or losing income, we've built scripts, pricing, logic, and boundary frameworks inside of Clean Freaks University. And before we wrap up, we want to mention that we are currently have one spot left for the podcast if you're interested in having your brand mentioned on the show. And it aligns with cleaning business owners and conversations that we have here. If you are interested, please reach out to Jamie or myself. All the information will be linked in the show notes. Start with one client, one boundary, and one reset. See you guys in the next episode.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.